Alright, so it is January 23rd, 2024. Been almost 20 days-ish, 2 weeks or so, since I last worked on the Firebird. I think it was like the 3rd or the 4th, something like that. Been real busy, work and home stuff, and had some winter weather and spent most of the weekends clearing snow. But finally, we are back to working on the Firebird. Tonight, we are going to do tear down, hopefully all the way, of the motor. I decided that I need to get this tore down first because I need to get it to a machine shop, and every machine shop is booking like 8 weeks out, so it'd probably be best if I get it all tore down, cleaned up as far as my cleanup is going to go, and then get it to a machine shop to wait for them to do what they're going to do with it. So we're going to take the distributor out, oil, pressure sensor and sender. Can take those out. Back of the block here. Valve covers are going to come off. Probably going to pop this off and put my little bypass right here back in first, before anything. Just might as well do that first because it's going to be there for a while, and that's going to be its final resting place, is right underneath there. So, and there's no reason to do it later over now. It really doesn't matter, so I just decided I'm going to do it right now because I want to. And it's kind of progress. It's more seeable to do progress right now, so we're going to start with that. Get the headers off, take the heads off. We'll check in on the pistons, how everything looks in that, how the combustion chambers and the heads look, head gaskets, how they look. I got to get the oil drained out of this, and then get the rest of the coolant out of it. I got my drip pan there, and hopefully we'll get the timing cover, oil pan, everything off. Maybe get pistons and rods out of it. We'll see. But I'm going to start by taking off the thermostat housing and putting in my bypass. Okay, so we got the distributor out and we've got the bypass strapped in there. We took out the 4 center intake manifold bolts, and now we just have to take out the other 8. Yes, I already loosened them from snug with a wrench. I found, especially when things are cold, it's best not to just go impacting them out. It's usually not bad necessarily, but I don't have to impact them all the way out. I can take my time with it, so I'm going to. Alright, that one's going to have to come out with fingers. Just a bad angle on that one. Maybe I'll have to get the wrench back on it too. Got a space heater sitting on top of my wood stove because I haven't had a chance to go and buy the rest of the piping that I need to put it through the ceiling and put a cap on the top of it. I don't have a cap yet, so this is what we're rocking with. It's all, well, it's warmer today than it has been. All the snow outside's starting to melt, and we had some rain today. It's probably, I think it's about 36 out, but it says it's 39 in here. When I started, it was 35. All right, we'll collect all those up. Okay, so I've already popped this thing loose. Let's get it off of here. Oh man, oh well. That gasket tore right there. I was hoping to be able to reuse those since they're almost brand new. But that's okay, they're fairly inexpensive, so that's alright. Let's see what we're working with here. Nice. A little bit of gasket residue. This is going to need a lot of cleanup, but that's alright. This as well. That's okay. I need to set this in front of the heater before I can get it to clean up. When it warms up a little bit, it should be easier to scrape off. Let me grab a towel here a second. Got that good 2050 oil still in it. Slow moving stuff when it's 35 degrees. Now, on the new heads, we're going to need to Dremel or die grinder a little bit of this material out in order to we're gonna have to cut the gasket in this area too, which that'll be fine. Yeah, I'll figure something out for that. But anyway, the new heads have a coolant extraction port right in between these two bolt holes, so we've got to make it so that it can get through the gasket and through the intake manifold out into the hose. And we're going to run a 6AN line from the coolant bypass on the front of this thing. Hoses out around the outside here to a T fitting here, and then down through this side. And then we're going to drill a port here as well and tap that 1/4 inch NPT and make that all nice and cooling. Yeah, so there we have the manifold. Ta-da! Yeah, we got one valve cover off. Right here we got the ends of the valley cleaned up a little bit from gasket. Obviously needs a little bit more scraping to get all that off of there, but got most of it. Got the heads cleaned up and most of their schmutz. Got the oil sender stuff out of the back port there, and now we're just going to take this one off here. These I can impact off, they're on a stud, so they should be just fine. Except for those two, which took the stud out with it. But fine, we're getting new heads. Not that these ones are bad or should be broken, but they got stuck down in there. Anyway. Okay. Grab my rag. A little cleanup on this. Ready to set it aside. At some point, I either have to get new, which we'll see, or I just have to take these baffles out of these valve covers. So I'm running stud girdles on my new rocker arms, and they will not fit with these baffles in here. I'll set it right there. The other one's on that shelf too. Oh, sorry, covering the camera again. Yeah, rocker arms. Look at those. They're still all there. How about that? It was almost like it was a good running engine or something. Exhaust headers are off, both sides. Spark plugs are going to come out next. Headers are just down there for now. Definitely going to need some new header gaskets. These ones have seen their usefulness through. Yeah, they need to be replaced. So, got some new of those. A couple of these. Where are they? Anyway, a couple of these bolts were getting pretty nasty. Not that one. I don't know. Anyway, there's a couple of those that were getting kind of, the threads were getting kind of mushed, and there was one that was all rounded out. So we're going to get new header bolts and new header gaskets to go on here. And we'll take the spark plugs out and see how they look. Okay, so we've got, the heads are obviously off. Push rods are all in this box. We're going to reuse those with the new heads. I put the old heads over there on that stack of tires. We'll look at them in just a second. Let's get a little more coolant to drain out of this block if we can. Sure. Looks like we were burning a little bit of oil, washing all the carbon away out on the edge of this piston. The rest of them don't look too bad. Definitely ran pretty lean in my opinion. Let's take a look down in these bores. Oh, this side looks better than the other. But it looks like even down in here, might have been burning just a little oil to wash away that carbon along the outside of the piston. Got some nice carbon buildup. You can probably get these to come clean. Yeah. Anyway, these are Summit Racing forged 30 over pistons. I put these in spring of 2022, I think. Anyway, doesn't look too bad, honestly. For not having an air-fuel ratio gauge in this thing and running it, just not really knowing anything about the tune-up. It had the stock distributor, so I had no idea what the advanced curve was like in that thing. With the stock distributor, I think I had it set at like 28 degrees of timing initial, and then it had the stock carburetor on it for forever. And I mean, I tuned that to max vacuum, but it didn't really have anything you could do to change it a whole lot as far as the tune goes. And then I didn't have an air-fuel ratio gauge in it for the longest time. And then when I stuck that on it, I still didn't have an air-fuel ratio gauge on, and yeah. So this thing had a lot of abuse through it before I got the tune-up really figured out. So honestly, it looks pretty good. No blown head gaskets, nothing crazy in here. Just some carbon buildup, and then some like brownish residue from, I assume, running a little lean. Yeah, not too bad. Let's take a look at these heads. Let's see. Let's tip this guy up. So I scrubbed all these valves. They had this like brownish residue stuff on them, but they come pretty clean. This one has some carbon buildup on it, but the rest of them look alright. Not too bad. Not too bad for the amount of abuse that thing had. Yeah, this side's pretty similar. I can't really see without the light, but anyway, yeah, not too bad. These are, I'm going to save, they're good heads, great heads, really. They're Brodix aluminum IK200s. They have a 70cc combustion chamber, though, which is a little bit big unless you're running a dome piston to bring up your compression. That 70cc is pretty big. So I think I might put them on that 400 over there if I end up keeping that 400 for something. I'd like to get a truck to put it in, but those would work good with a 400. Have a bigger bore and a bigger stroke. For a street motor, they'd work great in a 400. So I think that's what we'll do with them. So that's where we're at. Alright, let's pull one of these hydraulic flat tappet lifters out. See how it looks on the bottom.
That looks pretty good. Look at the edge. There's no scuffing or cracks or dents, nothing in that. So, I bought this camshaft kit. In 2022, right? Yeah. And everybody was saying, online was saying, you know, you can't do hydraulic flat tap it. You can't do flat tap it. They're no good. Lifters will collapse. I was worried. But I did my braking procedure. I followed comp's instructions. I added the zinc additive to my braking oil and took the inner springs out of my valve springs and ran the braking procedure as prescribed. Drained the oil and then I've run high zinc oil in this thing ever since. Ever since the first oil change. So now it's very important. I am going to reuse this cam and lifters in that 355 over there. It's very important that you keep these lifters in their positions relative to the cam lobes, because they do have a wear pattern that's specific to that.